Hey guys, this is Stephanie from My 7 Word Life Coaching, and today I want to talk about a very difficult topic for most people, and it's death. Every culture has its own definition, explanation, and feelings towards death. Now, I grew up in a Western culture, we consider it Western, and the definition here is that death is scary, it ends life, and then that's it, no more. And whenever someone dies, we all get sad, we cry, we dress in black, and it's a relatively negative and painful experience for those who are still living and experience someone's departing. Now, that's how I used to feel about it, even though as a child I never really experienced it, but I had fear of death. And what I realized over my travels, especially traveling different countries, is that the fear of death is a very limiting emotion that I don't necessarily agree with and I don't really need in my life, because there's so much that I need to work with on myself. Like, I love personal development and I love the journey. I'm not really thinking about the destination and just enjoy the ride. But the one thing that I realized that it's really limiting is the fear of death. Why is it so scary? It's because that I believed that whenever I die, that's it, it's over, gone, no more. But then when I started traveling and I met these other cultures that were celebrating death, and then they had positive emotions around it, and I realized that they believe in something else. They believe that life doesn't end there. This life does, but then the spirit goes on and then starts another journey. But we know from physics that energy doesn't just disappear, it transforms into something, it goes somewhere, it doesn't disappear. So I thought to myself, okay, how could I experience this philosophy and then decide whether I like it or not, whether I resonate with it or not? So first of all, my approach to everything new that I try is that I give it time, so I can experience it deeper, I get a better understanding, and I see the long-term effects of this philosophy on my life. Now, why do I do that? Firstly, because from my personal experience, everything takes time. So just because I tried something once, it doesn't make me an expert. Same thing with like sports. You know, if you want to run the marathon, you don't just put on the shoes and then run and that's it. No, you prepare. It takes time, and then you get better and better, and you feel physically more fit, more capable, and then over time you see how you're improving, and then you can run the marathon without harming yourself. So that's exactly my approach to everything that is personal development, is I give it time and I practice and I try to understand it, I feel it, because just because someone told me something or I read it online, it doesn't make it my experience. The reason for that is because I'm not looking for a universal truth. I'm not even sure if I believe in a universal truth. If there's one, I haven't been there yet. For now, I'm looking for my own truth, the one that serves me the most. And what I think serves me the most is not having the fear of death. What I did is, some of these cultures that I traveled, I actually spent time there and I engaged in the philosophy and I let myself be lost in this new idea. But then something happened, what I really didn't see coming, is firstly, after having all those experiences, my own experiences, my beliefs started to change. It's one thing that I decided here that I want to try something, but then it started to become belief and it traveled all the way down to my heart. You guys probably know the feeling that if you believe in something deeply, that it doesn't matter how many facts you hear, you're still going to believe in whatever it is. So it is very difficult to change a belief. But once I started having these experiences and it started to become a belief, then I realized that my old way of thinking was disappearing, and it was really scary, because imagine, like, I built all this world around me because it was giving my stability, it was giving me an understanding of the world, but then it was coming down. I realized, okay, I don't believe in that anymore, but I don't believe enough in this yet. So I was in between, in the middle of nowhere. It felt like I was in the desert. And it was really scary because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to believe in anymore. And I had so many questions. So I was like, who am I now? I'm not this person anymore, and I'm not this person yet. So what's next? But then it was incredibly exciting too, but it came with a lot of fear and anxiety. So eventually, as I deepened my knowledge into belief that I was trying to understand, I realized that it was giving me so much more joy, and it was giving me an explanation, an understanding, an experience. It was more fulfilling, and it was filled with a lot more positive energy, positive emotions. In my travels, what I've seen is that there are so many philosophies, and the one that I grew up with is just one. And it doesn't make it the universal truth. It's a belief that I possess from the way I was brought up, the people around me, my education. But then I go to a different country, a different culture, and I'm exposed to something extremely different. And first, of course, my ego kicks in. Okay, this is stupid. And I start having these thoughts of, why am I listening to this person? How can you believe in that? And then, of course, this is not fact-based. I actually started to calm down my ego and making peace with the ego, saying, you know what, let this person talk, because I might learn something new from it, and I might want to experience it and decide whether it's for me or not. And if it's not for me, I can always choose to go back to my previous philosophy. So there's no harm in trying new things out. Otherwise, I would never get out of my comfort zone. I would never develop. I would never learn. And learning happens outside of the comfort zone. So this is why I'm super open to new philosophies, whether it sounds super far-fetched or not. So my take on this topic is, I'm trying to live a life that it's not controlled by the fear of death. I want my life to be controlled by the love of life. One last thought about this is that just because I have a philosophy, I'm not trying to convince anyone of my truth, because I do believe that everyone is right. In our own world, we're always right. I'm just forming an opinion on a personal experience that I had, and I'm putting out this message to those who maybe never met another philosophy, and maybe this is something that interests you. And do your own research, do your own experience, and believe what you feel, what you see, what you experience, because everybody has a different interpretation of the same exact thing. So I hope you liked my video, and have a lovely day.